Okay, Jesse and Dylan, can you hear me? Okay, so I see what you've done is correct based on replacing all lowercase i's to capital I's. Now I'd like you to, specifically what I would like you to do is only replace those i's that are for the word I. So it could be the single word I, or it can be any contraction that starts with I. So I have would be written I've. So let's say someone forgot to capitalize the word I've, representing I have, and so they've left it like this. Whoops. It should be spelled correctly, of course. I've. So what I'd like you to try to do is not necessarily capitalize words with an I in the middle of them. So with should not be turned into with a capital I. Try to recognize where you can find simply just the single word I or a contraction involving I. Well, here's a hint then. How would you be able to, if your eyes just simply looked at a paragraph of text, one that said, let's say, so I would, or so I really like cars. Let's say I wrote down that sentence. How do your eyes recognize that the I is a word as opposed to the I in like, which is not a word? And whatever your eyes are recognizing, you need to think of how do you tell the Java to search for that particular string or set of characters as opposed to a single version of the letter I that occurs anywhere. Sorry about that, Dylan. I accidentally threw you into another room. It's really quick when it's online, right? I wouldn't have been able to do that in real life. Well, Jesse, this is where you and Dylan test your testing ability. So Dylan comes up with a paragraph that's going to try to catch your code to see if it actually does do what it should do, or together you'll both come up with some sort of paragraph that tests all those cases. As for whether you've coded it the correct way, at that point, if it works, it works. Then you can ask yourself, is there a more efficient way to do it? So first, just test it with a thorough paragraph that will cover all cases. Maybe, I's at the end, I's at the start. The first word starts with I, last word starts with I. Maybe one with sentences with a period. So you kind of can make sure that you've got all the conditions covered, and then at that point you can ask yourself, well, how can we make it a little more efficient if you need to? Okay, so Peter, you said it didn't work. What should it be doing that it is not doing? Okay, so it's not checking the correct length. Oh, I see. So even a small 4 or 5 letter word seems to set off the is what happening here, is the word or the box displaying sorry if it's over 140? Is that the way at the moment it's working? Okay, I see. So Hendrik, could I just see your code? Oh, after it. Okay, you think you got it fixed. Okay, because I guess with the lag here, maybe from my point of view, when I see you click go 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 a few times, I can't match up what it's saying with what you've entered. So if it works for you and you can tell, then great. So is the whole thing done? I think you both had the instructions up. There were only 2 things I wanted you to do. So yeah, now at this point it's good for you to try different types of paragraphs. So maybe there's one with a sentence, maybe one with, I think Hendrik, I saw you doing some lowercase, some capital. Maybe something with it at the start of the paragraph. So try to test some different scenarios. Maybe a lot of spaces within 140 characters, see if spaces are recognized. Try a few different things to figure out if it's actually doing what it should in those extreme special circumstances. So I think what you realize here, Jesse and Dylan, is that some of these special cases are really hard to code for. So if you've hit enter a couple of times, and then you include the word I'm, that's often difficult to recognize. The first I is also not changing. It's tough from my view here to see exactly what has been changed and what hasn't. But it looks like the contractions are missing. So those are not being changed. So I think you had the correct code originally to do that. Right, so maybe you should also add a little check-in to see if the first thing that someone writes down is the word I. So in that case, you just have a special condition that if remember that the string has index locations. So if the first word is I, then you know that the first and the second location are going to be a special. So maybe you can add that as a check. And then also see if then that contraction can start to be fixed. Abina, since I don't think Daniel's going to be able to make it back, it seems like he's been kicked out for good. Can I just get you to try your idea on your own if you haven't done that already? And I guess your screen share is not working, so you won't be able to share it. But if it is working, then what it'll get you to do is use that paste bin and just show the code, the block of code, and maybe take a screen capture. We're at 10 o'clock. I might give everyone 5 more minutes or so. So if you can get it working in that time frame, and then in order to show your code and the front end of how it works, maybe you can just use Pastebin and do a screen share as the best option at this point. And what do you mean by mad? I know it's pretty labor intensive. It does eat up your CPU, but that's, I guess, something we have to live with. I imagine you don't have anything else running in the background. You've made sure that that's the only program running right now aside from this Connect room.